We're back with the best of Bleav Network Hour on Stadium. Do you believe?
We're back, baby. It's the charity stripe. Hit your free throws because they're free. Let's talk March Madness again. We gave you guys the recap of what went down so far from what we've seen before we recorded. And now we're going to talk a little life on the bubble. Seth Greenberg, Andy Katz, welcome to the network, guys. Life on the Bubble is their show, a.k.a. Shots and Shabbats, basket to brisket. But Life in the Bubble is the main jersey that these guys go through. So let's go through their picks.
Yeah.
Let's do their picks. Let's start in region this one. Creighton versus Baylor is something they talk about. So check this clip out.
Yeah, I've got Creighton. Preseason, they were top 5. Some people thought they were the best team in the country. Trey Alexander's really a tough matchup. He's got a terrific middle game. Scheineman really he helps their team with his ability to stretch, rebound, pass, play. Kalkbrenner defensively, I think, is a difference. When I look at this matchup, I think that they have Nebhard can guard the basketball. Alexander can guard the basketball. Scheineman can guard the basketball. They've got good overall size. They're a good ball screen defensive team. And I think that Baylor, in the end, they're going to struggle defending. I mean, if you want a matchup, Nebhard, obviously, and L.J. Cryer will be a fun matchup to watch. Just because, Cryer's a little undersized but can elevate and jump up and knock down shots. So I would say that would be a matchup to watch in that one.
Really exciting. Obviously, Arizona going down in that section of the bracket.
The South.
The South.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad. There's just South, Midwest, West, East. There's no North. I know. No Kings of the North. That would have been really good. It's like kind of an unfortunate mess. We'll write it in. Arizona goes down. Princeton, Mizzou. That's kind of – look, if everything shakes out for one of these Baylor and Creighton teams, they might have a really nice shot to the Elite Eight. And Creighton was a team that people were high on, and Baylor was a team that you said people were.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Baylor team that won the national championship a couple of years ago, and same head coach. And a lot of these guys on this roster have been to the big dance before and have, great experience. And as we saw with this Arizona team, not a lot of these guys had gone deep in the tourney before, and they had a new head coach who really hadn't been. Tommy Lloyd, who did an excellent job with that team this year, but he hasn't been in this position before. And, that's not the end-all, be-all, because we saw Tony Bennett's Virginia go down too, and obviously he has a ring. But it just makes it that much more difficult when you don't have the experience, players-wise, coach-wise, of being there before.
Tony Bennett's lucky.
Seth MacFarlane's stunt double?
You bring him up. Oh, that's a good. We're going to do a double lookalike for, if you go follow us on Instagram, at the charity.stripe.
Yeah.
We'll do a lookalike Friday. We'll do Tony Bennett, and we'll do Seth MacFarlane, and we'll do our head coach, who we're going to get to in a second, Rodney Terry, and Gus from Breaking Bad. It's a really good one. I mean, Creighton and Baylor.
Not Gus from Benchwarmers?
No, not Gus from Benchwarmers. Baylor, though, is a team. Keontae George, a guy that I'm sure we'll get into when we talk prospects later. Talented. Cryer, Flagler. Again, like their size is decent. They're not great defensively, but I think the Creighton-Baylor matchup, and there's going to be a lot of good ones throughout the tournament, but if that's how it shakes out, I think that could be one of the better matchups we see, like these guys are saying, throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, well, they got to get there. No one's safe, it seems like. Princeton, first win since 1998 in the tournament.
Golly.
And then we saw Furman as well, right? First win since 1980, I think?
1980, when they last were in the tournament, Jimmy Carter was the president.
Solar panels, baby.
So, crazy that
is he still alive?
Yeah. He is still alive.
He's hanging on.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that he once...
you know what year he was born?
No.
1924.
Really?
Oh, he just missed both World Wars. Not that that's something to brag about, but just saying.
Wow. Well,
I mean, just missed both World Wars.
He wasn't there for the first World. Was he?
If he goes for another
No, he
year,
wasn't there for the first one, but he was there for the second.
Yeah.
So he didn't
no,
miss
remember
both.
that? Remember that movie that came out called 1917? Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the World War I.
That was okay. That's what I'm saying. Jimmy Carter was not there for the First World War. All right.
But he's about to hit triple digits, which is pretty sweet.
Shout out to him and his family.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I hope he gets there.
Not Nick's favorite president, but Nick's favorite team, the Texas Longhorns. These guys talk about that. We're kicking it back. Seth Greenberg, Andy Katz, Life on the Bubble.
I'm going to go with a flyer there and take Pitt. And on the other side, I've got Texas. I just think Texas is – I just think they're a really complete basketball team right now. And,
right.
and they have the discipline defensively to stay home, and they won't have to double those back downs because they can play a big guard on Jalen Pickett. So they can stay home and play Jalen Pickett one-on-one, which will enable them to run Penn State off the three-point line some.
All right. So in this bracket in Kansas City, we only agree on one. Indiana.
Well, that's because you're a damn Big Ten homer.
Yes. So I have Iowa, Indiana. You have Houston, Indiana.
I have no
And
agenda.
You have Pitt, Texas. I have Iowa State, Penn State. So we shall see how it all plays out in Kansas City. That's our breakdown of the Midwest bracket.
There's a bracket where Andy Katz thinks it gets bounced. Okay, let's not talk about that bracket. Let's talk about the bracket where they both think we could go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting excited and stoked. To me, this is a team. We were the number 3 seed a couple years ago. We blew it. Shaka Smart gets fired. Chris Beard, obviously, we know what's gone down with him. He's rehired in Ole Miss to party with Lane Kiffin. I think this is our shot of shots. Not to say that our program doesn't have staying power, but to me, this is the shot of shots we'll have as a Texas basketball program.
Yep.
This is a team with a lot of vets, a lot of college vets.
Last chance for a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Last chance, and also looking forward, we've got some really, really exciting young prospects. Again, we'll talk about prospects for the NBA draft, but if Dylan Mitchell declares like he's gone, right?
He shouldn't, but yeah.
If Arterio Morris ends up transferring, which I hope he doesn't, like who knows? Like we could be almost at a tabula rasa, like clean slate going into next season. So we really need to take advantage.
Besides Brock Cunningham, because he's running
right,
back.
who's
for
already
6th
said
year.
he's returning. Yeah, yeah. But all
Screw
the
you, Perry Ellis.
yeah, the new Perry Ellis, just more more importance behind this year and this 2 seed and how hard these guys fought this season to be Big 12 champs, and hopefully go deep in the tourney.
One
'cause I
game
think
at a
they can.
time. Yeah, I think they can. I just want to beat Sean Miller, honestly. I've hated him on our podcast since the podcast inception. So it'd only be fitting that on our way to the Final Four, we take him out in our warpath.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep going down the bracket. We're kicking it back to, you guessed it, Seth Greenberg, Andy Katz talking about Purdue.
We start with number 1 Purdue. They will take on the winner of Texas Southern, Fairleigh Dickinson. We know they're going to win that game.
Whoa, wait a second. Wait, we know they're going to win that game. Harvard on the Hackensack. I mean, the alma mater. You just diss the alma mater just like that? I mean, that's
you mean you win the league? They didn't win the ACC.
I mean, that's almost disrespectful. I mean, you say, my confidant, and then you absolutely trash my alma mater? That is unbelievable.
My alma mater didn't make it, so there you go.
I feel like of all the 1 seeds, maybe of all the 1 seeds I've ever seen, this is the least serious anyone's taking a 1 seed.
I don't see them in anyone's Final Fours in our bracket challenge for the most part. I mean, there's a few people that picked them, but I think for the most part, like a lot of people have different teams coming out of that region. Kansas State being one of them.
Yeah. I think Kentucky, right? A lot of people have Kentucky. Marquette, who we were talking about, Shaka Smart.
Duke.
I think part of it has to do with
Duke love.
Their best player, like guys that are that tall, that big, are talked about in such a way where you see in a very polarizing way, right? Like the opinions are very hot about guys that are that tall. And when a guy has been as productive as Edey has been, like because of his size, I think he gets a little bit of a lack of credit.
Or they view him as a one-trick pony kind of thing, the Boilermakers.
Like that he's not actually that talented, that he's just that tall, and because he's so close to the basket against not great competition, like he's able to take advantage. But the fact of the matter is this guy very well could win the Wooden Award this season.
Ran for the Big Ten.
And he made a huge jump up from what we saw last year when Purdue ended up beating Texas. I mean, their best player was Jaden Ivey.
They
was
were
not
ranked going into this year.
Right. It was not Edey. And even was it Trevante Williams?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He was the better big in that game against the Longhorns and in the tournament, but this is his team. And this could be really, really interesting just from a NBA prospect standpoint. Like, Edey could really silence some of the haters out there with a dominant performance.
People are viewing him like Luka Garza, but if he can go further and like win this thing, like many people are not anticipating.
I mean, he's 4 inches taller than Luka Garza.
He could,
insane.
He could be a late first round pick potentially if he really is dominant.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Why not mid?
Why not? They don't do that. They love the. I mean, we're gonna get into the prospects in the next segment, but they don't. They just love long, athletic. In the mid-level, they'll take a guy like Jalen Williams, for example, who's not from a bigger school, but he could hit threes and he's longer and can defend. Like that's where they'll take the range of those guys.
But shout out in this clip, they didn't know who had won that 16 matchup. Shout out to Seth's Fairleigh Dickinson. They did end up winning, and in the after they won that game, they were like, "We want Purdue." So even more to like what you guys were talking about, where people are kind of sleeping on them.
Bring the noise.
There was ever a year.
Yeah, bring the noise. All right, let's bring in one more clip from these guys. Check it out. They're talking UConn Huskies.
UConn Iona.
The winner gets St. John's. No,
Yes.
just kidding. I've got UConn. I think UConn. I've got UConn going all the way to Final Four. And that's putting a little pressure on Danny. Two legitimate post guys. I think Caravan is underappreciated. Jordan Hawkins has got to show up. Here's the deal with Jordan Hawkins. He can't do what he did against Marquette. He's got to play well, and then Tristan Newton's got to be solid. But I've got the backcourt of UConn handling the pressure of Iona. Even though Nelly Joseph is a very good front court player, and their backcourt is tough enough to be able to put some pressure on you and score it. I think UConn wins this game.
All right, so I have UConn winning as well.
The Huskies, man. I mean, it seems like they're a 4 seed. It could be huge for the Big East if they're able to do it. I have them in my Final Four.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Their size, their rebounding, to me, they're the team that can really sneak out as a 4 seed.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to talk more March Madness. It's a March Madness heavy show when we get back, so do not go anywhere. We're the Charity Stripe. Hit your free throws because they're free. We'll see you in just a hot second.
Hang tight. We'll be right back in just a second with some more great Bleav content on Stadium.